Hello and welcome, my dear friends. I am so happy that you are here with me today. You are listening to Fluent English Journey, the podcast where we make English learning simple, fun, and useful. If you want to speak English more fluently, more confidently, and without fear, then you are in the right place. Today we have a very special topic. Think in English and speak fluently. Yes, you heard it right. Thinking in English is one of the best ways to become fluent. Many learners struggle because they first think in their own language, then translate, and then try to speak. This takes too much time. It also makes speaking slow and stressful. Let me ask you a few questions. Do you understand English, but find it hard to speak quickly? Do you always translate words in your mind before speaking? Do you pause many times while speaking because you cannot find the right word? Do you feel nervous or afraid of making mistakes? If your answer is yes to any of these, don't worry. You are not alone. Most English learners face the same problems. The good news is, you can change this. You can train your brain to think directly in English. Now imagine this. What if you could think in English naturally? What if English words came into your mind without translating? What if you could speak smoothly, with confidence, in any situation? That would feel amazing, right? And guess what? It is possible. Today I will share with you simple, practical, and fun methods to train your brain. These methods will help you start thinking in English so that speaking becomes easier and faster. In this episode, we will talk about why thinking in English is so important for fluency, the common problems learners face, step-by-step techniques to think in English, exercises you can do every day to train your brain, how thinking in English will give you fluency and confidence. So, no matter who you are, whether you are a student, a professional, or just someone who loves English, this episode is for you. Stay with me until the end because I have some special exercises that you can use immediately after listening. You don't want to miss them. All right, let's begin. Why thinking in English is important. First, let's understand what thinking really is. Thinking means using your mind to understand and process the world around you. Every day we think about many things. We think about what to eat, what to wear, what to say, and how to solve problems. Thinking happens naturally in our brain. It is invisible, but very powerful. It helps us make decisions, plan our actions, and communicate with people. Sometimes our thoughts are words. Sometimes they are pictures or images in our mind. Sometimes they are just feelings. For example, when you remember a person's face, you see an image in your mind. When you plan what to say before speaking, you use words in your mind. When you feel happy or sad, your thoughts can also come as emotions. Thinking is not only for big problems. It is also for small, simple things. For example, remembering where you put your keys, deciding what to eat for dinner, choosing what clothes to wear. The way we think shapes everything, our actions, our choices, and even the way we talk to others. This is why it is so important to train your brain to think in English. Because when your thoughts are already in English, speaking becomes natural. You don't waste time translating. You don't get stuck. You don't feel nervous. And step by step, your English becomes faster, smoother, and more confident. What is thinking in English? Thinking in English means using English inside your mind when you have thoughts, ideas, or decisions. Instead of first thinking in your own language and then translating into English, you train your brain to think directly in English. For example, imagine you see a tree. If your first language is Spanish, your brain might first say árbol and then translate it into tree. This is translation. It takes time and makes speaking slow. But if you think in English, the moment you see the object, your brain immediately says tree. There is no extra step, no translation. This small change makes a big difference. It helps you speak faster, more smoothly, and with more confidence. Many learners struggle with fluency because they always translate in their heads. They think in their native language first, then translate word by word. This makes conversations slow and stressful. By training your brain to think in English, you cut out the translation step. This makes speaking much easier and communication more natural. Why is thinking in English important? Thinking in English is very important if you want to improve your fluency and confidence. Let's look at some main reasons why this skill is so powerful. 1. Thinking in English makes you speak faster. One of the biggest problems English learners face is speaking too slowly. Why does this happen? Because they are translating every word in their mind before speaking. Let's take an example. You're in a coffee shop. The barista asks you, "What would you like to order?" If you do not think in English, your brain might go through these steps. Translate the question into your own language. Think of the answer in your language. Translate your answer into English. Finally, say your answer in English. That's too many steps. It takes time and makes your answer slow. But if you already think in English, your brain will only do these steps. Understand the question in English. Form your answer in English. Speak your answer in English. Much faster, right? By removing the translation step, you sound smoother, quicker, and more natural. 2. Thinking in English helps you learn naturally. When you think in English, you don't need to memorize grammar rules or translate word by word. Instead, you begin to feel the language the same way native speakers do. Think about babies. Babies don't learn by memorizing grammar. They listen, connect words to meanings, and slowly start thinking in that language. That is why they become fluent naturally. You can train your brain to do the same. For example, instead of memorizing, run equals career in Spanish or run equals career in French, you simply connect the word run with the action of running. So when you hear the word run, your brain immediately thinks of the action, not the translation. This way, English becomes part of your thinking process. It stops being something foreign and starts becoming natural to you. White heavy check mark, so thinking in English is not just a skill. It is a new way of using the language. It makes your brain faster, your speech smoother, and your learning more natural. Would you like me to expand this even more into a full lesson-style script with more examples, a simple story, and small exercises learners can practice right away? 3. Thinking in English helps you gain confidence. Many English learners feel nervous when they speak. They worry about making mistakes or forgetting words. This nervous feeling makes it even harder to talk. But when you think in English, you don't need to translate. Your brain is already practicing forming sentences in English. This makes you feel more comfortable and less afraid. Imagine you are at a party. Someone comes up to you and asks, "Where are you from?" If you usually think in English, you can answer quickly and naturally. "I'm from Brazil."
No pause.
No stress. But if you're thinking in your own language first, you might stop, translate, and then speak. This pause can make you feel nervous or unsure. The truth is, confidence comes from practice. The more your brain thinks in English, the more confident you will feel in conversations. 4. Thinking in English improves your listening skills. When you think in English, your brain gets used to the sounds, words, and patterns of the language. This makes it much easier to understand native speakers. Many learners struggle with listening because they translate while listening. Here's what usually happens. You hear the English words. You translate them into your language. You try to understand the meaning. This is slow and confusing, especially when people speak fast. For example, imagine you are watching a movie. A character says, "Let's grab a bite." If you translate word by word, you may not understand. But if you think in English, your brain knows this phrase means, "Let's go eat something." So, thinking in English helps you understand faster. It makes conversations smoother and more enjoyable. 5. Thinking in English makes you sound more natural. Every language has its own sentence patterns and expressions. If you always translate from your native language, your English might sound strange or unnatural. For example, in some languages, people might say, "How many years do you have?" to ask about age. But in English, we say, "How old are you?" If you are translating, you may use the wrong form. But if you think in English, you will automatically choose the correct phrase. This means your English will sound more natural, more accurate, and more like a native speaker's. 6. Thinking in English makes English part of your daily life. If you want to be fluent, English should not be only something you study in class. It should become a part of your everyday life. Thinking in English is the best way to do this. For example, when you wake up, instead of thinking in Spanish, tengo que levantarme, I have to get up, train your brain to say, I have to get up. When you see a chair, don't call it in your native language. Call it chair in your mind. When you feel hungry, think, I want to eat. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Step by step, English will stop being a foreign language. It will become a normal part of your thinking and your life. Summary. Thinking in English is a powerful tool. It helps you speak faster, learn more naturally, gain confidence, improve listening skills, sound more natural, make English part of your everyday life. When you practice the skill, you don't just learn English, you start living in English. The more you think in English, the closer you get to fluency. The more you train your brain to think in English, the closer you move toward true fluency. It does not happen in one day. It takes time, practice, and patience. But every small effort counts, and every time you think in English, you make progress. Now, let's talk about something very important: the common challenges that English learners face when trying to think in English and how to overcome them. Common challenges of thinking in English and how to overcome them. Thinking in English is powerful, but it is not always easy. Many learners find it difficult at first because their brains are used to their native language. They translate everything in their head before speaking or writing, and this slows down communication. Don't worry, this is normal. Almost every learner experiences these difficulties in the beginning. The good news is, there are solutions. Let's look at the most common challenges and how you can deal with them. 1. Challenge: translating from your native language. This is the number one problem most learners face. When you want to say something, your brain first thinks in your native language. Then you try to translate it word by word into English. This can cause many problems. Your sentences may sound strange or incorrect. You may get stuck searching for words. You may speak slowly and lose confidence. Solution: the best way to stop translating is to immerse yourself in English. That means surround yourself with English as much as possible. You can listen to English podcasts every day, watch English TV shows or movies with subtitles, read books, articles, or even short stories in English. When you do this, your brain starts to connect English words directly with their meaning, not with your native language. Another simple trick is to practice thinking in English during daily activities. For example, when you are cooking, think, I'm cutting the vegetables. Now I'm frying the onions. When you are walking, think, the weather is hot today. I see many cars on the road. At first, it may feel strange, but the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. 2. Challenge: limited vocabulary. Another big problem is not knowing enough words. When your vocabulary is small, you feel stuck. You cannot express your thoughts fully, and you may pause too much when speaking. This makes it hard to think directly in English. Solution: the answer is to grow your vocabulary every day, but not by memorizing long lists. Instead, learn new words in context, inside sentences or phrases. For example, instead of only memorizing the word beautiful, practice using it in real sentences. The sunset is beautiful. She wore a beautiful dress. That's a beautiful song. This helps you understand how the word works in different situations, so you can remember it more easily. You can also keep a small vocabulary notebook. Write down new words and review them often. Use apps like Anki or Quizlet to practice with flashcards. Try to use new words in your daily thoughts or conversations as soon as possible. The more you use a word, the faster it becomes part of your natural thinking. White heavy checkmark up next. We can expand into challenge 3, fear of making mistakes and other obstacles like lack of practice opportunities or thinking too slowly. 3. Fear of making mistakes. Another big challenge is the fear of making mistakes. Many learners don't want to speak or think in English because they're afraid of being wrong. They worry about grammar, pronunciation, or using the wrong word. This fear can be so strong that they avoid practicing at all. But here's the truth. Mistakes are a normal part of learning. You cannot improve without them. Every time you make a mistake, you get one step closer to fluency because you learn something new. Solution: the best way to overcome this fear is to practice in a safe and supportive environment. You can join English speaking groups where learners help each other. Practice with friends who are also learning English. Work with a tutor who corrects your mistakes kindly and gently. Also, remember, even native speakers make mistakes. They forget words, they correct themselves, they sometimes use wrong grammar. So don't think you have to be perfect. Instead of focusing on mistakes, focus on progress. Celebrate every small success, like speaking one full sentence or using a new word. Confidence grows step by step. 4. Overthinking and mental blocks. Many learners also experience mental blocks when trying to think in English. This happens when you are overthinking, trying to make every sentence perfect, worrying too much about grammar, or searching for the best word. The result? Your brain freezes and you can't speak at all. Overthinking creates stress, and stress makes it harder to think in English. Solution: focus on fluency, not perfection. It's more important to get your ideas out quickly than to make every word perfect. You can always correct mistakes later. Here are some tips. Start with simple sentences. Don't try to sound advanced. For example, instead of "I am extremely exhausted after a very tiring day," just say, "I'm very tired." When speaking, imagine you are talking to a friend. Don't put pressure on yourself to sound perfect. If you forget a word, explain it another way. For example, if you forget umbrella, say the thing you use when it rains. Over time, the more you practice without pressure, the easier it will be to avoid mental blocks. Remember, it's better to speak imperfect English than to stay silent. 5. Not enough speaking practice. Another big challenge is simply not practicing enough. Thinking in English is easier when you use English often. But if you only study from books and don't speak, your brain is not ready for real conversations. Without regular practice, you may struggle to remember words quickly, forget the phrases you learned, lose confidence when someone speaks to you in English. Solution: make speaking practice part of your daily routine. Here are some ways. Find a language exchange partner online or in your city. Join English conversation clubs or classes. Practice speaking to yourself in English at home. Describe what you're doing. I'm cooking rice. I'm washing the dishes. I'm watching TV. Record yourself speaking about a topic for 1 to 2 minutes. Then listen and see what you can improve. At first, it may feel strange to talk to yourself, but it is one of the best ways to train your brain. The more you speak, the more natural it becomes to think in English. White heavy checkmark up next. I can help you write challenge 6. Lack of confidence in real situations like interviews, meetings, or speaking with natives, and wrap this section with a motivational conclusion for learners. 6. Inconsistent practice. Another challenge is inconsistent practice. If you only use English sometimes, your brain will not build the habit of thinking in English. It's like going to the gym once a month. You won't get stronger. The same is true for language learning. Without regular practice, your mind will quickly return to your native language. Solution: the secret is consistency. You don't need to study for hours every day, but you should make English part of your daily life. Even 15 to 20 minutes of practice every day is much better than studying for 3 hours once a week. Here are some ways to stay consistent. Read a short English article every morning. Listen to an English podcast while walking or traveling. Watch a movie or YouTube video in English before bed. Talk to yourself in English about your day or your plans. You can also connect English practice to your daily routine. For example, on the bus or train, describe what you see in English. While cooking, name the ingredients and actions in English. Before sleeping, think about your day and say it in English in your mind. These small but regular habits train your brain to think in English naturally over time. 7. Difficulty with complex thoughts. In the beginning, it's easier to think in English about simple topics like food, weather, or daily activities. But when you want to express complex ideas, such as your feelings, your opinions, or a technical subject, you may struggle. This happens because you don't yet have enough advanced vocabulary or grammar structures. Solution: to improve, you need to challenge yourself with more advanced English. Here are some steps. Read books, articles, or essays on different subjects. Watch TED Talks, documentaries, or interviews that introduce complex ideas. Write short reflections on what you learned, using the new vocabulary. Practice explaining difficult ideas in simple English first, then try to expand with more details. For example, complex idea: climate change has long-term consequences for global ecosystems. Simple version: the world's weather is changing, and this is bad for nature. By starting simple and then building step by step, you make complex English less scary. Over time, your vocabulary and confidence will grow, and you'll be able to think about any topic directly in English. Final thoughts on challenges. Thinking in English is not something that happens overnight. It's a skill that grows slowly with practice, patience, and consistency. By overcoming these common challenges, translating from your native language, limited vocabulary, fear of mistakes, overthinking and mental blocks, lack of speaking practice, inconsistent practice, difficulty with complex thoughts, you can gradually train your brain to think naturally in English. Always remember, every mistake is not failure, it's a step forward. Every practice session, even just 10 minutes, brings you closer to fluency. Progress may feel slow, but consistency always leads to results. The more you integrate English into your daily life, the smoother and more confident your thinking will become. White heavy checkmark. Now you're ready for the next big section. Step-by-step methods to think in English. Step-by-step methods to think in English. Thinking in English is a skill you can build little by little. Instead of trying to switch your whole brain overnight, you can follow these gradual steps. Each step brings you closer to fluency and helps you think more naturally in English. Step 1. Start with simple vocabulary. The first step is to build a strong base of simple, everyday words. Focus on the words you use most in your daily life: nouns, verbs, adjectives, and prepositions. Examples of useful words. Verbs: eat, sleep, go, work, call. Nouns: home, phone, lunch, coffee, bus. Adjectives: tired, hungry, happy, late. Prepositions: in, on, at, under. Instead of translating from your native language, try to form simple thoughts directly in English. Instead of, I need to eat lunch, translated from your language, think, I'm hungry, I want lunch. By practicing this, your brain will connect words directly to ideas, without translation. Step 2. Describe everyday situations. Another powerful method is to narrate what you see and do in English. This helps you practice forming sentences and connecting words into natural thoughts. Examples. In the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen. I see the stove. There are vegetables on the counter. I'm going to make lunch. While walking, I'm walking to the store. The weather is hot today. I see children playing. While cleaning, I'm sweeping the floor. The room looks better now. The goal is not perfection, it's practice. The more you describe your world in English, the more natural it becomes to think in the language. Step 3. Use English for your inner dialogue. Your inner dialogue is the voice in your head, the little conversations you have with yourself all day. If you can switch this voice to English, your fluency will grow much faster. Examples. Decision-making. What should I wear today? Should I go to the gym or stay home?
Feelings. I'm frustrated.
How can I solve this problem? Planning. After lunch, I'll finish my homework. Then I'll call my friend. At first, it may feel unnatural, but with time, your inner thoughts will naturally begin to form in English, and this will spill over into real conversations. Step 4. Engage in English immersion. Immersion means surrounding yourself with English as much as possible. The more you hear and use English, the less effort your brain will need to process it. Ways to immerse yourself. Listen to English podcasts or audiobooks daily. Watch movies, YouTube videos, or TV shows in English, with or without subtitles. Read books, articles, or blogs in English. Speak with native speakers or other learners whenever possible. The goal is to make English part of your environment, so your brain begins to process it automatically. White heavy checkmark, you've got steps 1 to 4. Next, we can continue with step 5, practice thinking in English with journaling. Step 6, ask and answer your own questions. Step 7, practice real conversations. And maybe a step 8, gamify your practice for extra motivation. Step-by-step methods to think in English, continued. Step 5. Focus on thinking in full sentences. After you're comfortable with single words and short phrases, move to complete sentences. Thinking in full sentences helps you sound more natural and prepares you for real conversations. Instead of coffee, think, I need a cup of coffee before work. The more you practice building sentences, the faster your brain will adapt to English sentence structures. Over time, this will make it automatic to speak in smooth, flowing sentences, without hesitation. Step 6. Challenge yourself with thought exercises. Give your brain a workout by practicing short mental exercises in English. Choose a topic and think about it for a few minutes entirely in English. Examples. Your plans for the weekend. On Saturday, I want to visit a museum. I'll take the bus. I'm excited to see the new exhibition. After that, I'll have lunch with Anna. Your favorite hobby. I love painting.
It makes me feel relaxed.
My favorite colors are blue and green. As you progress, increase the difficulty by choosing deeper or abstract topics, dreams, goals, opinions. You can even try holding a mental debate with yourself in English to stretch your thinking skills. Step 7. Practice speaking out loud. Thinking silently in English is great, but saying your thoughts out loud makes them stronger. When you speak, your brain connects thoughts with spoken words, building fluency. Examples. Narrate your actions. I'm cooking pasta. I need to boil water first. Talk about experiences. The movie was amazing. I liked the characters, but the ending was surprising. If you're shy or alone, pretend you're explaining something to an invisible friend, or record yourself and listen back. This practice builds confidence and makes your English more natural. Step 8. Use visual cues to trigger English thoughts. Objects around you can become mental reminders to think in English. Whenever you see something, name it or describe it in English, not your native language. Examples. Seeing an apple, think apple. Or, this apple looks fresh. I want to eat it. Looking at your phone, think, I need to charge my phone. The battery is low. Passing by a bus stop, think, the bus is late today. I'll wait 5 more minutes. This simple technique connects real-world visuals with English words and phrases, training your brain to react naturally in English. White heavy checkmark with these 8 steps. You've created a complete, progressive system for training your mind to think in English, starting from simple words all the way to full, natural conversations. Step 9. Be patient and stay consistent. Thinking in English is not something that happens overnight. It is a skill, and like any other skill, it takes time and practice to improve. At first, it might feel difficult, and you may catch yourself going back to your native language often. That is completely normal. The key is patience and consistency. Even if you practice for only 10 or 15 minutes a day, doing it every single day will bring results. Over time, your brain will get used to forming thoughts directly in English. For example, week 1, you might only think of single words like coffee, phone, bus. Week 3, you may start forming short sentences like, I need my phone, or the bus is late. Week 6, you will notice that you can think in English for longer periods without translating. So, don't give up if it feels slow at the beginning. Stay patient and keep going. Small steps every day lead to big progress. Step 10. Review and reflect regularly. To grow faster, it's important to stop once in a while and check your progress. Reflection helps you see how much you've improved and what areas still need work. Once a week, ask yourself simple questions like, am I thinking in English more often than before? Do I feel more comfortable forming sentences in English? What situations make me switch back to my native language? By asking these questions, you can see your progress clearly. If you notice that you are still struggling with some areas, you can focus more on them the next week. Reflection also keeps you motivated. When you realize that a few weeks ago you could only think 1 or 2 words in English, but now you can think in full sentences, you will feel proud of yourself. That feeling gives you energy to keep going. Exercises to train your brain to think in English. Now that you understand the steps, let's look at practical exercises you can use to train your brain. These exercises will make the process easier and faster. Exercise 1. Label your environment. One of the simplest ways to practice thinking in English is by labeling the things around you. Use sticky notes and write the English word for objects in your home, office, or classroom. Examples:
Door,
window, refrigerator, book, television. Every time you see these objects, try to say or think of the word in English. Do not translate it into your native language. Just connect the word directly with the object. Backhand index pointing right variation. Instead of only writing one word, you can write a short phrase. For example, refrigerator. The refrigerator keeps food cold. Book. This book is interesting. This way, you are not only learning words but also building short sentences, which helps you think in English more naturally. Exercise 2. Think in English for a set time. Choose a specific time each day when you will only think in English. It could be 5 minutes at first, then 10 minutes, then 20 minutes. Slowly increase the time as you get better. Examples: in the morning while brushing your teeth, describe your actions in English. I am brushing my teeth. I need to rinse my mouth. Now I feel fresh. On the bus to work, think about what you see. There are many people on the bus. That man is reading a newspaper. The weather looks nice today. Before bed, think about your day in English. Today was busy. I worked a lot, but I also had fun talking with my friends. At first, it may feel strange, but soon it will become a habit. The more you do this, the more natural it will feel to think in English all the time. White heavy checkmark by practicing patience, reflecting on your progress, labeling your environment, and setting aside time to think in English, you will gradually train your brain to switch into English automatically. Exercise 2. Think in English for a set time. You don't need to start big. Begin with just 5 or 10 minutes a day where you only allow yourself to think in English. As it gets easier, you can slowly increase this time to 15, 20, or even 30 minutes. During this time, try not to use your native language at all. Whatever comes into your mind, express it in English. It can be very simple things like, I will have breakfast at 8 o'clock. After that, I will go to the gym. I need to finish my homework today. You can think about your plans for the day, what you did yesterday, or what you want to eat for lunch. Backhand index pointing right to make this exercise stronger. Try to actually say your thoughts out loud. Speaking what you think will train both your brain and your mouth to work in English together. This helps you move towards smoother, faster communication. At first, it might feel slow, but soon your brain will naturally prefer English over your first language. Exercise 3. Describe everything around you. Look at your surroundings and describe them in English. Pick an object, a person, or even a whole scene. For example, if you're in a park, you could think, the trees are tall and green. A child is playing with a ball. The weather is sunny, but a little windy. I can hear birds singing in the trees. Try to be as detailed as possible. The more details you add, the more vocabulary you practice. This exercise is powerful because it makes your brain connect words directly with what you see, hear, and feel. You won't need to translate from your native language. Instead, you'll naturally link English words to real experiences. Over time, describing things in English will feel quick and natural. Exercise 4. Silent conversations in English. Another great way to train your mind is to have imaginary conversations in English. These are like little practice dialogues that happen in your head. For example, imagine you are speaking with a friend, a family member, or even a famous person. You can practice everyday phrases like, Hi, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. What about you? What did you do today? You can play both parts of the conversation, ask the question, and also answer it. Try to keep it natural, like a real dialogue. This exercise is important because it trains your brain to respond in English automatically, without pausing to translate. The more you do this, the faster your brain will come up with answers in English. Exercise 5. Keep a journal in English. Writing is another excellent way to make your brain think in English. Start a small notebook or use your phone to write a daily journal. You don't need to write long essays. Begin with short and simple sentences such as, Today I woke up at 7 o'clock. I had rice and chicken for lunch. I watched a movie with my brother. Over time, try to challenge yourself by writing more about your thoughts, feelings, or opinions. For example, I was happy today because I finished all my work early. I think learning English is difficult, but I am improving step by step. Backhand index pointing right tip. If you don't know a word, don't stop writing. Use a dictionary or thesaurus to find the English word instead of switching back to your native language. This habit forces you to stay in English and makes your writing stronger. The more you write, the more confident you will become in expressing yourself in English without translation. Exercise 6. Listen and mimic. Listening is one of the best ways to train your brain to think in English. Try listening to English content every day, podcasts, news, YouTube videos, songs, or movies. After listening, mimic, copy what you hear. Repeat the words, phrases, or even whole sentences exactly as the speaker says them. For example, if you're watching a video and the speaker says, It's a beautiful day today, pause and repeat it in the same way. Pay attention to pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. This exercise helps your brain connect English sounds with meaning, and it also improves your speaking skills. Over time, you'll notice that some phrases will automatically come to your mind when you need them. White heavy checkmark with these exercises, setting time to think in English, describing your surroundings, having silent conversations, keeping a journal, and listening with mimicry, you will slowly train your brain to think directly in English without translation. Exercise 6. Continued listen to native speakers and mimic. Listening to native English speakers is one of the best ways to train your brain. Pay close attention to how they pronounce words, their tone and intonation, the way they form sentences naturally. After listening, mimic or repeat what they say. You can copy short phrases, sentences, or even long expressions. Examples. If a speaker says, "It's a beautiful day today," pause and repeat it exactly as they say it. Try to copy their speed, rhythm, and emphasis. This exercise helps you improve your listening skills, improve your pronunciation, internalize the natural flow of English. Over time, by listening and repeating, your brain will start thinking in English automatically because you begin to process how native speakers speak and respond in real-life situations. Exercise 7. Use an English dictionary. Instead of using a dictionary that translates words into your native language, switch to an English dictionary. When you find a new word, read the definition in English. Look at example sentences. Try to understand its meaning using context clues. For example, if you see the word curious, the dictionary might say, wanting to know more about something, eager to learn. You then understand it directly in English, without translating. Why this works? It forces your brain to think in English. You connect words with ideas, not with your native language. It strengthens your vocabulary and comprehension. Over time, using an English dictionary helps your brain process English directly, making it easier to think in the language naturally. Exercise 8. Watch movies and TV shows without subtitles. Watching English movies or TV shows is a fun way to immerse yourself in English. To challenge yourself, try turning off subtitles. At first, it may be difficult, but gradually you will understand the plot without translating. Pick up phrases, idioms, and expressions naturally. Start thinking in English as you follow the story. After watching, try to summarize what you saw in English. The main character went to a big city. He met a friend and explored new places. Then, he solved a problem at work. This helps your brain process English in real time and trains you to think quickly and fluently in English. Exercise 9. Think in English while doing daily tasks. You can train your brain by thinking in English during everyday activities. No extra time is needed, just practice in the moment. Examples. Cooking. Now I'm chopping the onions. Next, I'll fry them in the pan. Cleaning. I'm washing the dishes. I need to dry the glasses after this. Walking outside. The sun is shining. There are many people on the street today. By describing what you are doing in English throughout the day, you make English a habit. Your brain starts to automatically think in English without effort. Exercise 10. Speak out loud. The final exercise is to speak in English out loud, even if you are alone. Speaking forces your brain to form thoughts in English quickly. Ways to practice. Narrate your actions. I'm making tea. I need to boil water first. Talk about your day. Today I went to the market. I bought fruits and vegetables. It was sunny outside. Explain things. I will tell you how to cook rice. First, wash the rice. Then boil it in water for 10 minutes. Tips. Speak in full sentences, not just individual words. Don't worry about making mistakes. Focus on fluency first, accuracy second. Try to align your thoughts with your speech so your brain learns to think and speak in English together. With regular practice, speaking out loud will train your brain to think in English naturally and make your conversations faster, smoother, and more confident. White heavy checkmark. By doing these 10 exercises consistently, you will train your brain to think in English naturally. Listening, mimicking, writing, labeling, thinking during daily tasks, and speaking out loud all work together to make English a part of your daily life. Thinking in English. How it leads to fluency. Training your brain to think in English is a gradual process. It doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent practice and dedication, you will notice significant improvements in how naturally you think and speak in English. The key is to immerse yourself in English as much as possible. This means engaging in exercises that challenge your brain to connect thoughts directly to English words and sentences instead of translating from your native language. When you do this regularly, English will become a natural part of your daily life, making your communication smoother, faster, and more confident. Why thinking in English improves fluency. Fluency isn't just about memorizing words or grammar rules. True fluency happens when English becomes a part of your thought process. When you think directly in English, you speak more naturally, understand conversations faster, respond quickly without hesitation, use vocabulary, expressions, and grammar correctly. If you constantly translate from your native language, your speech will sound slow, awkward, or hesitant. But if your brain learns to think in English first, your sentences form automatically, just like a native speaker. How the brain changes. Thinking in English changes the way your brain processes language. English stops being a foreign language that needs translation. It becomes a tool for communication, ready to use instantly. You develop a deeper understanding of the language. You can construct sentences naturally, understand idioms, and use correct tenses without stopping to think. This shift is the foundation for real fluency. Benefits of thinking in English. 1. Quicker responses. One of the first noticeable benefits is that your brain responds faster in conversations. When you no longer translate, you can understand a question and answer immediately. For example, if someone asks, "What do you do on weekends?" Instead of translating in your head, you instantly think, "I usually go for a walk and read books." This speed keeps conversations natural and flowing. 2. Better pronunciation and intonation. When you think in English, you start internalizing the rhythm and melody of the language. Your brain begins to recognize how native speakers stress words, pause between sentences, and change tone in different situations. For example, saying, "I'm going to the market," while thinking in English will naturally lead you to pronounce it correctly and with the right flow, rather than sounding stiff or awkward. 3. More confidence. As thinking in English becomes a habit, you feel less nervous about speaking. You don't hesitate or pause to translate words. You form sentences naturally, making conversations easier and more comfortable. 4. Improved listening skills. Thinking in English helps you understand spoken English faster. You no longer translate every word. Instead, your brain recognizes meaning directly in English, which is especially helpful when listening to fast speakers or complex sentences. 5. A natural feel for the language. Eventually, English stops feeling foreign. You start using expressions, phrases, and vocabulary without thinking twice, just like a native speaker. This makes your speech more natural, fluent, and accurate. By training your brain to think in English, you're not just memorizing words, you're creating a new mental habit. With consistent practice and daily exposure, you'll speak faster, understand better, and feel more confident in any English conversation. Benefits of thinking in English. 1. Natural pronunciation and intonation. Thinking in English helps you mimic the natural rhythm, stress, and pronunciation used by native speakers. English has specific stress patterns in words and sentences, and when you train your mind to think in English, your brain naturally begins to use these patterns. For example, instead of sounding like a word-for-word translation, your sentences will flow more smoothly, making your speaking sound more natural and fluent. 2. Improved vocabulary and idiomatic use. When you think in English, you stop memorizing lists of words. Instead, you start to recognize which words fit naturally in different situations. This helps you use more varied and appropriate vocabulary in conversations. Understand and use idioms and phrasal verbs, which often don't make sense if translated literally. Thinking in English allows you to see these expressions as part of the culture and structure of the language, not just as words to memorize. 3. Reduced mental stress. Translating constantly from your native language is mentally exhausting. Switching between languages uses a lot of energy and makes it harder to keep up in conversations. When you think in English directly, the language flows effortlessly. You don't need to focus on translating or worrying about mistakes. Your mind becomes more relaxed, and speaking confidently feels easier. 4. Stronger grammar skills. Thinking in English helps you use grammar naturally. Grammar isn't just memorizing rules. It's about applying them in real situations. For example, as you form sentences, your mind automatically recalls proper sentence structures, verb tenses, and prepositions. With consistent practice, grammar becomes second nature, and you don't have to think consciously about it while speaking or writing. 5. Enhanced listening skills. Thinking in English improves your ability to understand spoken English. Native speakers don't translate in their minds, they think and speak directly in English. By training your brain to do the same, you'll understand conversations faster, follow movies, podcasts, and news broadcasts more easily, process the language naturally without translating each word. 6. Increased confidence. As thinking in English becomes a habit, you feel more comfortable speaking. You can respond quickly in conversations and communicate ideas clearly, which boosts your confidence significantly. How to start thinking in English. Transitioning from thinking in your native language to thinking in English takes practice, but it becomes easier over time. Here are some simple strategies to start. 1. Label your environment. Write the English names of everyday objects around your home, office, or school. For example,
Door,
window,
desk, chair.
Every time you see these objects, think of them in English without translating. This strengthens the connection between the object and its English word. You can even write short phrases like, "The refrigerator keeps food cold." This helps with both vocabulary and sentence formation. 2. Practice thinking for set times. Set aside a specific time each day to think in English, starting with 5 to 10 minutes and gradually increasing. Think about your plans for the day, what you did yesterday, what you want to eat. Try also to say your thoughts out loud, e.g., I will have breakfast at 8 o'clock. Then I will go to the gym. This links your thoughts with language, improving fluency. 3. Describe everything around you. Pick an object or scene and describe it in English. For example, if you're in a park, I see a big tree. There are children playing. The sun is shining brightly. This exercise expands vocabulary and helps your brain form sentences directly in English. 4. Have silent conversations. Imagine having conversations in English with a friend, family member, or even a fictional character. Practice common phrases. How are you? What did you do today? Think about both sides of the conversation and respond naturally. This trains your brain to form responses automatically in English. 5. Keep a journal in English. Write daily about your thoughts, feelings, or activities. Don't translate. Write directly in English. Start simple, then try more complex ideas. This improves sentence structure, vocabulary, and thinking in English. 6. Listen and mimic. Listen to podcasts, news, or YouTube videos in English and repeat what you hear. Mimicking native speakers helps with pronunciation, intonation, natural sentence patterns. 7. Use English dictionaries. Look up words in an English dictionary instead of translating. This teaches you to understand words in English directly and reduces reliance on your native language. 8. Watch movies and shows without subtitles. Challenge yourself to understand the plot without translating. Summarize what you watched in English afterward. This trains your brain to process English in real time. 9. Think in English while doing daily tea. How to start thinking in English. 1. Label objects around you. Begin by labeling items in your home, office, or classroom with their English names. For example,
door, fridge, desk,
mirror. Whenever you see these objects, think of them in English. This simple method strengthens the connection between the object and its English word and reminds your brain to start thinking in English naturally. 2. Practice your inner dialogue in English. Pay attention to your thoughts throughout the day. Instead of thinking in your native language, try to think in English. Describe what you see, feel, or are doing. For example, if you are walking to the store, think, I'm walking to the store to buy some groceries. I hope they have the apples I like. This helps your brain get used to forming sentences in English and builds the habit of thinking directly in the language. 3. Engage in English immersion. Surround yourself with English as much as possible. You can listen to English podcasts, watch English movies or TV shows, read English books, articles, or blogs. Follow English social media accounts. The more exposure you get, the more your brain starts processing English automatically. Also, try to interact with native speakers or other learners. Join language exchange programs. Participate in online forums.
Attends Conversation Club.
Real-life conversations are especially effective for training your brain to respond in English without translating. 4. Start small and gradually increase complexity. Thinking in English can feel challenging at first. Begin with simple topics like your daily routine, food and drink, short tasks such as shopping. As you gain confidence, gradually move on to more complex topics like career plans, future goals, abstract ideas. This step-by-step approach helps you build fluency without feeling overwhelmed. Why thinking in English matters. Thinking in English is one of the most powerful ways to improve your language skills. It helps you respond faster in conversations, speak more naturally, understand English more deeply. By shifting your thought process from your native language to English, you will notice easier communication, greater confidence, more intuitive understanding of the language. It takes practice and patience, but the rewards are worth it. The more you immerse yourself in English and make it a part of your daily thoughts, the faster your fluency will grow. Encouragement for learners. Learning to think in English isn't just about memorizing words or grammar rules. It's about training your mind to use the language naturally. If you feel nervous or unsure about reaching fluency, remember this. Every small step matters. Every time you practice, speak, or think in English, your brain is building the habit of fluency. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. It develops gradually through daily practice,
consistency,
real-life application. Stay patient, stay motivated, and trust the process. The more you immerse yourself in English, the more confident and fluent you will become. Encouragement for learning English and achieving fluency. Fluency in English doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent effort and patience, it is absolutely possible. You may have heard the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. This is true for learning any new skill, including a language. Sometimes you might feel like your progress is slow, but every day you think and speak in English is a step closer to fluency. Even small improvements add up to big results over time. Here are some encouraging thoughts to keep you motivated on your journey. 1. You are not alone. Many learners feel frustrated or discouraged at times. This is normal. Even the most fluent English speakers started somewhere. Mistakes are a natural part of learning. They are not failures. Every mistake you make and correct brings you closer to fluency. Remember, fluency doesn't mean perfection. It means being able to communicate clearly and confidently, even if it's not perfect every time. 2. Your effort is building a strong foundation. Fluency is the result of regular practice. The more you think in English, the more natural it becomes. Sometimes progress happens gradually, so you might not even notice it at first. Each sentence you form in English, every new word you understand, and every thought you express in English is strengthening your foundation. Over time, using English will feel automatic and natural. 3. Keep challenging yourself every day. Thinking and speaking in English might feel uncomfortable at first, but growth happens outside your comfort zone. Push yourself a little each day. For example, describe your day in English. Think about a problem in English. Talk to yourself or practice silent conversations. The more you challenge yourself, the easier it becomes. Soon, speaking fluently will start to feel effortless. 4. Be patient with yourself. Patience is one of the most important parts of learning English. You might feel frustrated when you don't speak as fluently as you want, but there's no need to rush. You are on your own personal journey, and it's okay to take time. Every day, you are growing a little more. Patience leads to better results. 5. Focus on progress, not perfection. You don't need to be perfect to be fluent. Think of fluency as a journey, not a destination. Celebrate small wins. Speaking without stopping to translate. Understanding movies or podcasts without subtitles. Using new vocabulary in your thoughts or conversations. Each success, no matter how small, is a step forward toward fluency. Final reminder. Keep practicing, keep thinking in English, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. With daily effort, patience, and consistency, you will gradually become more fluent, confident, and natural in English. Every small step counts, and your hard work will pay off. Encouragement for thinking in English and achieving fluency. 6. Imagine your future self. Visualize yourself in the future, speaking English naturally and confidently. Picture having a conversation where the words flow without hesitation. You can express yourself clearly, understand everything being said, and respond easily. This is the goal you are working towards, and every day you practice thinking in English brings you closer to it. 7. Keep the end goal in mind. Thinking in English and speaking fluently opens many doors. Imagine the opportunities you could have. Traveling with ease. Working in an international company. Connecting with people from different cultures. Feeling confident in social situations. Your hard work today is building the foundation for your future success. Every step you take now will pay off later. 8. Find joy in the process. Learning a language can be challenging, but it can also be fun and rewarding. Find ways to enjoy the journey. Watch movies in English. Read books or articles. Talk to friends or language partners. The more you enjoy learning, the more motivated you will be. If learning feels fun, it becomes easier to keep going, even when things are difficult. Final words of encouragement. No matter where you are in your journey, remember this. You are improving every day. Don't rush or compare yourself to others. Mistakes are part of learning. They are steps forward, not setbacks. Celebrate every bit of progress, no matter how small. Keep practicing and thinking in English. Every effort brings you closer to fluency. Fluency is not a sudden achievement. It is a journey, and you are on the right path. Stay motivated, enjoy the process, and remember, fluency will become a natural part of who you are if you keep going. If this guide has helped you, share it with friends who are also learning English. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and know that fluency is just a step away.